3-2 against the New York Rangers. And that's 4 in a row, baby. And they're in the playoffs now. They're in the playoffs. Excited, Fern? Are you excited? You have no opinion because you're a fan, but everyone seems to love you in these videos, so I can't get rid of you. All right, let's wrap this. Let's get going. Let's get going. You know, usually there's a bit of talk between the games, some different lineup issues, a little bit of controversy in net, but just seemed the same as what happened against the Rangers last time. They started with Jari. Again, there's no controversy on who's the starter. It's clearly Jari. Yeah, puck drops and, you know, Crosby takes it up the wing immediately, passes it to Rodriguez. First liner, Evan Rodriguez, who we might be able to say that for much longer. And he puts it on the net. It's a really good go for Evan Rodriguez. And I wanted started by, he obviously gets injured into this game and then things change when he's no longer in the first line. It sucks that he got injured. I don't ever want a single player, even on the opposition team, to get injured at any point in time. However, he's not a first line player. We can have the two separate conversations and they can just be separate to each other. He should not be on the first line. I think everyone has made that crystal clear at this point. But, you know, it sucks that he's injured. He's an NHL player. Like, he's a good player. He's just not that level. Then the game just kind of, you know, just went along the same way as it did in the first one. That both teams just kind of, you know, were feeling each other out a little bit and just seeing how it all went. The Rangers had some really good chances. Lafreniere was much bigger of a presence than he was in the first game, I thought at least. And you can start to see that, like, yeah, you know, I think he's a Jack Hughes situation there. Like, Hughes has been great this year, and I think he might be a Hughes situation also. He's just a little bit away from being really, really good, and he's probably going to need a year. But he's got to have a better season than Hughes did in his first, definitely. Yeah, he got a great shot off net. There was also a bouncing puck in front of the net, and I mean, that's a gimme. You gotta put those in, and he kind of just wanted to caress it in, just corral it in. But yeah, it didn't go. He puts it on the side of the net, and Jari's then able to get to the side. And it was one of those fantastic moments in Jari's life this season where his stick broke again. And it's just there. It's just a carcass of a stick just to the side. And it's just those thoughts running through the mind again. Not this again. Thankfully, it was no goal and there was no damage on those plays. Then the Rangers then got on a power play after trying to dump the puck in. Ruhwedel then was pretty much the human equivalent of the community chest card of Monopoly to say go directly to jail and do not collect $200. It was just complete interference. He dumps it in. Ruhwedel takes 4 steps and just boom into the net. And again, it's the human equivalent of getting that card and going to jail on Monopoly. And yeah. So he's sitting there. He's trying to roll doubles. The Rangers get some really good chances. Zibanejad has a great one-timer chance that he whiffs on. Panarin also has a good chance. Panarin was pretty quiet this game too. He just didn't seem as solid as normal. He didn't pop up all the time. I noticed their defenders a lot more than their offense this game for the Rangers, but anyway, Penguins kill it off. However, a little bit of prolonged time in the net. The Rangers were starting to come a little bit towards the end of this game. In 16-minute mark, Fox puts it on the net and Blackwell's able to get a tip. And it goes through Jari and it is 1-0. Not much you can do on this play. It's a really good goal. And you know, I felt the Rangers had the better of the chances in the first period, but ultimately the game was pretty even at that point, and the fact that the Penguins just hadn't had a horror period at that point, I was pretty happy. I was also worried that the horror period would then come in the second or the third, but like, you know, I was happy that it wasn't that one. The one thing I will say is that Cody Ceci was just like on him, preventing him from trying to go through, and it just looked a bit soft for a guy that's 6'2" and 210 pounds. It was pretty easy to get to that puck, and I wouldn't mind making that a little bit more difficult. But yeah, we'll leave it at that one. Also, the poor linesman at the end of the period. Ceci goes to dump it in from the defensive zone, obviously looking for a tip. Cap gets the tip. It goes into the linesman's face. And no one cares to see if he's okay. Everyone's just going for the puck to the point where they're like trying to get around the linesman. I'm surprised he didn't get bowled over. They just had eyes for the puck, and then just like at the very last second, Cap was like, oh yeah, I better do this. And the period ends 1-0 down. However, Penguins have been here a lot this season. They have been behind and managed to find a way to come back. However, this particular behind isn't because they just stopped playing for an entire period. It's just a good period of hockey by both teams. There's some things they could change, definitely, but it's not horrendous what we saw, and that's what we need to live with at the moment. Penguins then came out in the second period, and they were on a mission. They were ready to go. They were getting pucks on the net. They were really driving play. Bluger with a great uplight pass. And by the way, that Bluger guy's been pretty good the last few days. Gives it to Rust, who had the most shots in a game thus far this season with 12 last game. So yeah, Rust is getting it going. I get really annoyed that the commentary was like, you know, he missed that shot. It was such a good breakaway move. It was so good. It was a fake to a backhand. The backhand rose. It just clipped Igor. Literally just clipped it. It was such a good play. I was like, yeah, well, like if he does that pretty often, he's going to score more often than not. So I had no qualms with that. Bluger with a great pass. Evan Rodriguez then gets injured. The update from Coach Sullivan is he's still being evaluated, which seems to be just the growing line of any player that's ever injured. And then you talk to the coach that night. It's just always the same thing. Yeah, we need to evaluate him. And yeah, end of. So we'll find out tomorrow. But it's lower body, which just could be anything, really. So that brought Rust into the lineup, into the first line. And boy, how did they score immediately. Crosby... during a turnover, finds Rust just shooting up the ice, and he just bobbles it up over the Ranger defenders, just enough off the ice. It bounces twice. Rust controls it, but controls it without even losing any speed. It's just the perfect bounce, and you just have to think to yourself: was Rust good at controlling that, or did Crosby literally make it bounce there? And at this point, I can't rule out that Crosby has, like, mind vision and he can make the puck settle in certain points. But anyway, and then Rust buries it 5-hole against Igor, who probably would have wanted some of these goals back. I mean, it's not his fault. It's 2 breakaways and 2 great shots on 2 breakaways by Rust. And it is 1-1, and it's looking okay. It's looking okay for the Penguins. The Penguins haven't had any power plays to get them into the game either. That's the other thing. That's the way they've kind of been getting into games, even though their power plays have been great. Speaking of, they got no power plays for the entire game, even though the reffing was pretty bad with stick infringements. The entire game, there was just they put the whistle away. I thought it was a bit harsh. The CC one, I think I saw those penalties all around the ice. Ruida one I'll give you that's interference. Again, no getting $200, but like, there are definitely penalties out there to even this up. But the Rangers did not stop there. They kept trying and they kept going at the net. Trouba puts it into the net with a real good chance that could have been a goal. The only reason it wasn't was because Strome, it hit him in the foot. However, CC's right there again with just no net front presence, and it just seems easy to score when Cody Cece's in front of the net, and it has been something that the Penguins have really struggled with lately, is just having a good net control out in front there, and I think Cece is a big issue for that, and that's the reason why he's there. Like, that's meant to be the defender that he is. We know that he's not the best breakout defenseman in the world, but he's meant to be there to just make things difficult on everyone. And then Strome's able to just bat that in. He kept his feet, credit to him. CC didn't, which was another issue. And it's 2-1 going into the intermission of the second. I'm still not, I'm still not worried at this point. Like, I still think the Penguins have played a complete game. They're not giving up 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s. There were a couple, but they were able to cover them on the back check. Their coverage was a lot better this period too. I think that's one thing, like, whenever it's been bad and they've been giving up 2-on-1s, the back-checking defenders just kind of all over the place. The other thing I will say on that goal is if you go watch the replay, I don't know what Malkin's doing. I don't know what we do there. Like, I don't want to be the people that are like, we need to trade him away and do all these things. But, like, something needs to happen because I don't know what's wrong there. Like, I really don't. He just seems like completely out at sea, that he doesn't know what to do anymore. I'm hoping that he's got a small injury or he's just second guessing himself and he can get around this. But he doesn't seem to be putting in a huge amount of effort either. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. Penguins come out again in the third pretty strong, which is really positive that they went out in the second strong, the third strong, and I was just thinking to myself that we might not have a horror period this game. And McCann from the board ends up putting it straight on the net and hits D'Angelo's stick, knuckle pucks a little bit. D'Angelo, the owner of What's Your Tone podcast, you can go subscribe if you want no real entertainment at all. I recommend it. It's also off Twitter now, which is fun. I thought that was funny that he got deleted. Then he came up with a fake account, and then people were chirping him about that, and he's like, "This isn't fake." It's hilarious. He's just, Yeah, that dude's on another planet. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine by him. He's on that Parler now, which is... I don't even think it's on the App Store anymore because of, like, how... It's funny that, like, we say conservative. It's like, these people aren't conservative at all. They're quite outward in their horrendous opinions. But anyway, he's on that. So if you want to go chat to him, you can. But anyway, it comes off his stick. Knuckles in. Igor, I'm not going to try the last name. I always get it wrong, and I feel bad that I get it wrong. It's just my brain fries when I try to say Shushushkin. Yeah, it goes in. Goes in high, too. Then it seems like he had a bit of a view to it. And then at the end, he's kind of got his hands up in the air like it's the 5th grade, and he's trying to get the answer in early in maths so he doesn't get asked the harder questions later on. Ooh! Ooh, pick me! Pick me! We all did it. We all did it. You knew that if you answered the first math question, you're sweet for the day. You're sweet for the day. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Once the fractions came out, you weren't needing to do that. You got 6 times 5 right. Or if you got it wrong, see, it worked both ways. If you got it right, it's like, yeah, he's a keen bean, he's done his job. If he gets it wrong, then the teacher thinks you're an idiot. And they're not going to ask you the harder question in an hour's time to embarrass you even further. So, like, either way, you're done for the day. You've done a good job. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, the goal. So McCann scores. It's 2 goals in 2 games after he went on a massive streak where he just wasn't able to put it on the net. 2 pretty freaky goals, but sometimes that just happens. Like, you know, you play well and they're not going in, and then all of a sudden you get, like, you know, Rangers pretty much circumventing Las Vegas and throwing it in their own net, and then you've got that one as well. It's 2-2, and the Penguins, you know, looking pretty good at this point. Rust hits the post as well, with not too much longer to go. They did look pretty good, the Rangers, but they did have a few chances here and there. Jari still looks like... I'd like to see a full game of Jari where he doesn't look like he's eaten 8 pixie sticks and he's just like a little bit hyper on sugar. He just seems to be a little bit jittery still, and I don't know how to take it, but he was good this game. He was good enough to get them the win, even though there was a few whiffs on the puck by the Rangers, but you know what, he did pretty well. And I spoiled it that they did win because Letang breaks into the zone, puts a nice backhand feed into Gensel, and Gensel just wires this puck low and through the 5-hole again. Eagle might want to check that 5-hole out, eh? And you know, with about 2 minutes to go, there was no time left on the clock when that got done. And the crazy thing about that goal, go watch the replay and watch Brian Rust in front of the net. He is not looking. Like, he is just Blair Witching in a corner. He's just in front of the net, not looking at where the play is. He kind of sees the pass go from Letang, and then he just looks straight, and then he like counts to himself. He's like, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then he just jumps because he knows a shot's coming. It's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable because I couldn't work out when I first watched it. I was like, why is he lying in front of the net like the Titanic woman that's like, draw me? And you look back, and it's because he jumps because he knows a shot's coming. But he's not even looking. It's the weirdest thing. Like, yeah, he's some weird Sixth Sense. He's the kid off Sixth Sense, confirmed. Kind of looks like him a little bit. Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak in the best kind of way, but it's like, there's definitely some weird stuff going on in there where he starts to see time. The Rangers then tried to end the game, tried to tie the game up. Panarin had a really good chance with about 10 seconds to go and whiffed on it, which has been the story of their game. For the Rangers. They were on heavy whiff alert this game. They whiffed on a few pretty good chances that could have really sunk the Penguins. Really, it could have been another game where the Penguins let in 5 goals, which is just a common thread for them. But it didn't happen. They're able to get the puck out right at the end, and the Penguins win 3-2, their first regulation win of the season, which is good to just not give the other team a point when obviously you're playing other teams in the divisions. You understand that, commentators? We get it. We get it. Every game's worth 4 points, because if they get 2 and they don't get 2, then it's 4. We get it. You don't need to say it anymore. But it's still good to be able to do that. And it's just good that they won in regulation. And I thought this was their most complete game. They're still nowhere near like where they need to be. I think the Rangers is probably going to be one of the more inconsistent teams in this division, because the Devils seem to be surprisingly good. Also, Ty Smith is just the best. The best. I don't care what we need to do. I don't care what the Penguins need to do to trade for Ty Smith, but just do it. Just do it. I'm not saying trade Malkin, by the way. Let's not get into that. Anyway, so again, at the filming of this video, no update on Evan Rodriguez. However, the Penguins are in a playoff position. Ooh, the Penguins currently sit second in the division, and also the Flyers aren't in the playoffs because they've just had a real horror run recently. So yeah, that's a weird one. Even though they were so dominant against the Penguins, they've really just stopped trying. But anyway, guys, if you did like this video, hit the like button. It really does help us out. If you aren't subscribed and you don't want to hit the like button, then hit the subscribe button. I highly recommend it. It really does help us out. Keeps us all growing. We're really growing this thing. It's been pretty unbelievable what's happened in the last few weeks. I know it's not huge numbers, but for me, I was like, oh wow, I've gone from 300 to 800 pretty in a month. So yeah, so thank you for everyone that subscribed. Comment down below, keep the conversation going. I find none of you comment, probably never make it this far. Bananas, right bananas. So I know you made it this far. My own little ego. Anyway, guys, I have to cook dinner now. It's dinner time here in Australia. I'm making pork schnitzel. I've already crumbed it. They're just over there. Just there. Mashed potato, some vegetables. It's gotta be healthy. You gotta get fiber. That way you poo regularly. That's why you come here, isn't it? It's to find out the end of a video, the tips of how to get a regular poo cycle. Next game is against Boston on Tuesday, your time, Wednesday, my time. Have a great day. Thank you. And bye.